in the gecko room now. If you saw the first part of this, which you can watch back earlier, my mother and father-in-law are now here, and we're getting them settled in. And then we also had the gecko guy come by to finish up partly a crested gecko order that I've been working on with him. So what I was saying before that guy came is that I'm not too into the crested gecko, the Dalmatian crested gecko project. So I wanted to sell that entire project, which I did. The guy took it for like a science program class for his wife's classroom. So that's going to be pretty cool. And I'm actually going to go into the classroom and like talk about crested geckos, and they're going to study the genetics of the crested gecko. So Wizard, thank you for coming back. I shouldn't have any more stops or interruptions for the rest of this stream, you know, so. But yeah, I really prefer the Harlequin crested geckos, the ones that are really, really like high patterned. So that's kind of that. When I do eventually get deeper into crested geckos, that's going to be the direction that I really hammer into. So Elisa, good to see you in here as well. I'm also testing Wednesday night lives to see if Monday would be a better night for live or Wednesday. Because if you missed it earlier, I don't think that I want to do Fridays for a live, because everybody is doing lives on Friday. Like everybody. Crested gecko people, leopard gecko people, a ton of ball python people, other podcasts that are just reptile related, and they're doing it on Friday nights. So I might want to just stick with Monday. Monday was always a successful night for us. But just like an hour ago, Friday was pretty successful too. There was a lot of people that were jumping in. Wednesday. And the cool thing about Wednesday is, my name is Frank. Wednesday is known as Hump Day because of the camel Frank from the commercial. So that might be kind of cool. I would do Wednesday because, yeah, it's the middle of the week. It's Hump Day. People want to, right, like decompress a little bit, talk some geckos, and then that'll energize them for Thursday night football, and then eventually Friday night weekend, woohoo. So we'll see what winds up happening. But yeah, I would like to invite guests on that are really leopard gecko central and leopard gecko related. So we're definitely going to be doing that. And then November 19th and 20th is, like I was saying in the first part of this, that is the reptile show out here in Arizona. And then January 7th and 8th is the reptile show in Pomona, California. So this one's a pretty cool grow out that I'm using to hold back. It has a really nice like jungle pattern to it. It's a Mandarin Inferno cross. So getting these guys all cleaned up right now. I like to feed our grow-ups a lot of food. The more you feed them, the faster they grow, the better that's going to be for you if you are trying to breed them. Thanks, Alyssa. Actually have to build more leopard gecko racks here. What's the difference between mandarin and tangerines? That's actually a really great question, Ethan. So let me think of the best way to describe this. The best way to describe this. Okay, I got it. Well, I don't know if this is the best way, but see if you're tracking with me here. Africa, or Europe, or Asia. Africa, Asia, and Europe. Let's just stick with one of them. Let's just stick with Africa, because I think that might be the easiest for people to connect to. There's different countries in Africa that make somebody who has the complexion of dark skin, right? So whatever country you're from in Africa, most people, I would say, in Africa do have dark skin. And so that's going to be the same with tangerine leopard geckos. There's many different lines of tangerine, but they all kind of do the same thing, or at least, you know, skin-wise of the leopard gecko, it looks the same. they all have orange skin because they were bred for that over time. And the more that you breed orange to orange, the more orange you're going to see. And that's just typical of like human beings that are in one location, right? So like all Japanese that are on the island of Japan, for the most part, they look very similar skin tone wise and features wise because they're interbreeding with each other over millennia. And that's the same with leopard geckos. If you're breeding orange geckos to orange geckos, they're all going to look pretty much the same, even though they might be from different like states within a country. So let me know if that makes sense. But basically Mandarin is like one state of Africa, so to speak. Inferno would be like another state. Clown would be another state. And all of these states are going to have minor differences, but they're all in the country of Africa. They're all in this one category. So Mandarin is in the category of tangerine. Underneath the umbrella of tangerine is clown, inferno, Mandarin, electric, gecko genetics, blood. What else am I missing that's popular? There's I'm sure there's other lines of tangerine that people have created as well. But it all falls under the umbrella of tangerine. So yeah, let me know if that makes sense. And yeah, to get onto Alyssa's point, there are certain lines of tangerine that tend to, let me put that in quotes, tend to have better quality than others. Mandarin is one of those lines. Inferno is another line. Clown is another line. I would say those are like the top 3 lines of tangerines. Oh, and blood. Those are like the top 4 lines of tangerine that people have been working with to really increase the brightness and the orange coloration of the gecko. Now that doesn't mean other lines of tangerine can't be the same or better. It just means that because people are working with these specific lines, that's where all the attention's going, and that's where the most orange geckos are popping out of. So okay, cool. Yeah, if anything ever doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll try to explain it in a different way. Man, Arizona is nice right now. Like, it was raining all day today. It was a little bit chilly. And then right now, I just got all the windows in the house open, so it's just like all the fresh air is coming through. So that's pretty cool. And then it's kind of hard to see, but the term jungle refers to like wonky pattern. Yeah, you're not really going to be able to see it with this lighting. But on this gecko is like zigzag patterning. That is referring to the jungle pattern of the gecko that's breaking up the banding, you know, because leopard geckos are normally banded, but when they're jungle like this, it's like zigzaggedy, so it's pretty cool. Oh, this is one of the ones that is going to be for sale. Somebody was asking about some like tangerine breeder males. And I've been holding back a bunch of tangerine breeder males, just growing them up to see which ones I want to keep. This one's pretty cool, and he's going to wind up being released here shortly. He does have a little bit of eye crinkle issue right there. You can see from incubation and like a little curved tip. But he is like really, really nice genetics. So I'm going to take some better pictures of him. I'll put them up. But I was advertising him as $250 right now. Normally, something of his quality would be like 400 plus as a breeder, like an adult breeder, like he is, especially male. So just because of the tail kink and all of that, you get a discount. But he's still perfectly fine to breed. And tail kinks are not like inheritable to our current knowledge, you know? It is something that like usually happens in incubation. So he shouldn't pass that on. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're taking the chance of that when you buy him, that he does pass that on, but I haven't seen any research to suggest that it does. So if that does happen for you, let me know, because that would be good research to document for the hobby. And I'm always trying to document stuff for the hobby, right? So, but yeah, the eye crinkles and the tail curve at the tip of his tail, that should all just be incubation stuff. It shouldn't be connected to inheritable genetics at all. You know what I mean? So, have you ever bred orange with a knight to see what you would get? Do you mean black knight? If so, yes. And there's actually some really nice like orange black knights out there. That's one of our goals for the Black Knight project, is to produce a bunch of mandarins that are really, really red and then breed them into the black knights that are really, really black. So first, we're keeping the project separate. We're breeding for the blackest of the blackest animals with fresh DNA in there, and then we're also breeding for the most orangey red animals that we can produce. And when both of those are accomplished, we'll bring the projects together. That's always been like kind of my perspective on things, is if you want to make a white and yellow tangerine, breed white and yellows to the best quality you can for like 2 to 3 years, and then breed tangerines at the same time to the best quality you can for like 2 to 3 years, and then combine the two. So it's kind of fun, like making your own stuff like that, and that's always been like my practice, you know what I mean? Yeah, thank you, Dragon. We are back. So the guy with the crested geckos, he bought 14 crested geckos from us. He picked up 2 from me the first time I met him. He picked up 6 from me tonight. So he has a total of 8 out of the 14. So we got to get him the last 6 he's going to pick up this weekend, he said. So they will be officially off my care list this weekend, which is pretty cool. You know, when you have a bunch of animals or a bigger operation, it's nice to kind of downsize to the animals that mean the most to you and the animals that you really like the most, you know? And for me right now, that's leopard gecko. So anyway, this guy will be available. He was on our story. He is a male. He is virgin male, but I think he'll breed no problem. You know what I mean? My favorite color with leopard geckos is tangerine, for sure. Even though I really love Black Knight, if I had to pick one, like just one, to work with forever, it would be tangerine, you know? And then the second to that would probably be Black Knight. What is this guy? Oh, this is a pure fasciolatus. Where are we going to sell this? Is this a male? No, this is a female. I have this listed as to sell it. So if anybody wants a pure fasciolatus female, this is a really great example of fasciolatus. You can see the pattern starts really high up on the shoulder blades. It has a really purpley, light yellow complexion. Perfect example of what a pure fasciolatus looks like. That would be great for a snow project. We're actually breeding Black Knight into fasciolatus to see what happens, to see if we could get the black pattern to ride higher up on the shoulder blades and create like this two-toned effect, where beneath the shoulder blades it's all white, but above the shoulder blades it's pure black. So we're working on that right now. I think that will be possible, but it's going to take some time. We only got generation 1 fasciolatus Black Knights currently made right now, so we're still working on it. But yeah, sometimes I get asked for pure wild types, and that's a pure one right there, pure fasciolatus. So I will probably take pictures of her, put her up for sale as well. And we do have a bunch of geckos on the website right now, but we have a show coming up. So that's another reason I'm not like trying to take too many pictures of new geckos right now, is because I'm trying to see what sells at the show first and foremost. You know what I mean? So pure fasciolatus is, I think they go for about $200 at this size. So let's just say that tentatively, I need to look at the current market value. But if you want her, let's see if she's ovulating. She's a little bit, she's not fully grown. She's basically an adult. She's just a young adult, so you could call her like a sub-adult. But look at that face. Gorgeous face. Beautiful animal. I'll say 200 plus shipping for her. Because it is really cool to have like a pure fasciolatus, pure Turkmenicus, and then you could cross that into your own projects. So if you are interested in her, text me 480-299-7657, 480-299-7657, and we'll see if we can make that happen for you. This one, it's tough to tell on camera, but you can see all of that like army green. Really, really nice. Like greenish coloration coming in there to mix in with the orange. So this is another Mandarin Inferno. Let me see if it's looking male or female. Oh my. We have a male. I might want to keep him for as much green as he's showing. I think I'm gonna wind up keeping him unless someone gives me a really good offer that I can't refuse. But you know, we're still in the, even though we have a ton of animals, I'm still in the process of holding animals back, you know, because I still want the best of the best stuff so that I can make more of it. You know what I mean? So that's why you haven't really seen me posting too much like really, really like good geckos, is because I'm still holding on to all of them to produce more. And that should be happening now. We have a bunch growing up in the racks now that I'm going to wind up selling some of those. Like Generation 2 Mandarin Inferno, the stuff is on fire, like literally like fire. This one, the one that I showed right now, is Generation 1. But the amount of green on him is absolutely ridiculous. And his age, he'll be ready to breed within 2 to 3 months. So all of that is taken into account when I consider which ones am I going to hold back, which ones am I going to sell, what price am I going to sell it at, you know? When do females usually go back into season? So if your female ends breeding, she will usually go back into season within another 4 to 5 months. And most leopard gecko seasons start in December through April. Most of them start December through April. And then depending on which month they start, like if the gecko starts in December, it'll pretty much be done breeding by April. And then it'll start back up again around December. Sometimes it's within like a month or two of the last year's season. So that's why I'm constantly checking the girls that we have over here. I'm checking them year round. As I clean, I check them year round for ovulations. Because they might go earlier one year compared to another year. And then if your gecko starts breeding in April, then it'll be done breeding around August or September, and then it'll start breeding again around the next April. And that's typically how it goes. So it's typically like 4 months on, and then like 5 to 6 months off. And then it'll be like another 4 months on. Like, you know, something around that type of pattern. But sometimes they just surprise you. I think I had a girl that was done breeding, and then she started re-ovulating again super early, only like 4 months after she was just done. And that happens sometimes. That's pretty cool when that happens, because you might get an extra long season. You know what I mean? Ideally, you want the girl to produce as many eggs for you as she can, right? So the earlier she starts, she might have a longer season for you, and that's a good thing if you're a breeder. You know what I mean? So here's this boy again. Ooh. Yeah, it's always recommended not to house males together. I heard that they will fight to the death. I've never seen evidence of that. I've never seen video of that. But it's just one of those things that's like commonly accepted in the hobby, is that males are very territorial. Now, females are also territorial, mainly during breeding season. So you also do have to keep an eye on females beating up other females. And I'm going to do a video on this because obviously we group breed here. You can see that we got girls set up in groups. And every single week, I'm studying every girl to see if she's getting bit or getting picked on. And if she is, then I mark that down for me to see if this is a continued behavior of that group. And then I need to find the aggressor, remove the aggressor, you know what I mean, or fix up the group, switch it, swap it around, whatever. I got to come up with a solution. And yeah, so that does happen with girls. They will get territorial during breeding season, so you just need to keep an eye on them. This is a really nice boy. No eye issues or no nothing at all, and he is actually, I believe he's going to be for sale. I think this is the one that I will be listing. So he's like pure adult. He's like ready to go. He's a Mandarin Inferno Generation 1. He has pretty nice carrot tail. As you can see, his carrot tail goes down pretty far. And I'm going to be getting better pictures of these guys and listing them probably like close to this weekend. But I did put them up on Instagram stories just to see if I got any interest from people. That boy right there, he's Tremper albino. If he was not Tremper albino, his color would be even more saturated and even more orange. Tremper albino kind of takes away color a little bit, so he's definitely a good breeder. Like if you're gonna breed him, I would breed him to animals that are like not Tremper albino, other tangerines, and he'll make some fire tangerines. So he's $400 because he's already an adult, ready to breed. He's a big boy too, and he's nice quality, nice genetics. So I'll be if he doesn't sell, I'll be bringing him to the show to see if we can find someone who wants to buy him at the show. And if you do house females together in groups, you do want to put them in the bigger the tub, the better. And the more hides you have, the better. Now, we only have one humid hide per tub, but I'm just telling you what would be best. What would be best is if they had a bigger area and more hiding places, then the females will feel less need to be territorial. But when you're operating a business for efficiency purposes, you have to do things in a certain way and just make it work. So what we have is decent sized tubs. They're 28 quart tubs, which is pretty standard in the industry for housing 4 adult females. And then you'll drop the male in there, let him breed for like 4 to 5 days, then you'll remove him. And most of our groups are perfectly fine, but I do take note of certain groups where a female might be getting like beat up on or something, you know, and then I'll make the appropriate adjustments or changes. What's going on? All exotic Z. Good to see you here. I think this one we're keeping too, yeah. This one's got a really interesting... So this one, I would be selling this one, but it has a really interesting, like, speckled pattern. Gosh, it's hard to see. It has a really interesting speckled pattern for an albino, and it is a Mandarin Inferno. All of that speckling that I'm seeing in the pattern, I think if this was not an albino, it would have a lot of contrast to it as far as like black spotting and stuff like that. So that's why I want to keep this one, to breed it for contrast and for pattern, you know? Because I love a Charmander gecko. I love a gecko that looks like Charmander, but I also love a gecko that has a lot of contrast and, you know, spotting to it and stuff. Brazil in the house, welcome. Pet Sonic, welcome. Really cool to get the leopard gecko and reptile community together. Yeah, so I mean, the business is growing though. I was just talking to my business partner just yesterday. You know, it kind of stinks that I haven't really been able to sell as much of our higher end stuff as I want to, but it's just a strategic move that I think is going to pay off in the next 2 to 3 years, compared to if I did sell all of our Black Knights or all of our best tangerines, I wouldn't be able to have as many groups and produce as many. So it's definitely, I need to produce a lot every year, especially to be competitive with quality and price at the same time. So so that's my business plan. That's my goal, is just to have a lot so I can produce a lot. So what type of sprayer are you using brand wise? It is this Eliminator 2-gallon sprayer from Walmart. I've tried the Home Depot sprayers and they break on me much quicker than that one. So I'm a big fan of Eliminator. It's the only sprayer that I will buy and use right now. I've bought like 6 of them. That's how much I like it. So Eliminator, Walmart, from Walmart. That's where I get it. Oh, thank you, Exotic. I will be selling some of the Black Knight Afghanicuses that we made, which to my knowledge nobody else has Black Knight Afghanicuses, so I'm going to be marketing them that way, and it'll be pretty cool to see if we can get some buzz and some interest around that. Oh, this one's definitely for sale. This one was $400 as well. It's a Mandarin Inferno. It's a male, adult, ready to breed. And I'm going to get better pictures of these guys when I do officially post them on the website, probably in a couple of days or so. The only reason I threw some pictures up on our story early is because I had someone who's coming, who's already buying some other geckos from us, and they wanted to know what males we have available. So I started looking for them, and I came across a bunch of, you know, our holdback males that I would be willing to release, because I was just holding them back to see which ones I wanted to keep as they grew into adulthood, you know. Yeah, this guy, I think we're going to do $400 for this guy. I think that's a fair price. He's already an adult male, ready to breed, Tremper albino. The non-albinos that he produces are going to be super, super like orange. But of course, if it's Tremper albino, it takes away a little bit of that saturation. So thank you, Wizard. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, you know, 11 of you watching, 5 likes. Can we see if we can match the likes to the amount of people watching? That would be awesome. But yeah, we've always done really great on Monday nights for lives. I don't know why. Maybe people are just, you know, stressed out about work, but there is Monday Night Football, so I need to take that in consideration. So maybe Wednesday would be, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe we'll experiment with Wednesday. But there's some leopard gecko breeders that I'm going to be planning to bring on, and then also I'll go back to like doing our own live streams. It's just been a little busy, but I can't wait to free up some time so I can make some more videos and all that good stuff, you know. I have a female red diamond cross that color. I have pics of her in my channel. Oh, nice. So you could go check out All Exotic. JSC, today my leeches and gargoyles started hatching. Congratulations. I know that's a completely different... I know it usually takes a lot longer than leopard gecko eggs, so you've probably been waiting on those a while. Was this guy for sale too? I don't know. I think this guy I was keeping. But, well, thank you, Tears. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're working on it. Little by little, I say. Inch by inch. We've only been on YouTube for like 3 years now. The world of leopard geckos is a little bit tougher. It's a tough world right now because leopard geckos has not been really popular on YouTube since the Matt Baronic days, which was like 10 years ago. Until Geckopia and then myself and Luna Geckos, us three really started pumping out leopard gecko specific content over the last 3 years. And now we're starting to see a rise in popularity of leopard gecko content on YouTube. But that's a big reason, I think, for why we're not as big as I think we could be, is that the leopard gecko hobby is kind of restarting on YouTube. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of on the back burner for the longest time. So it's just going to take passionate people who really love the species and want to continue making exciting morphs and creating content to do that. And I think we're just at the beginning stages of that right now, where there's a little bit of momentum now moving forward on YouTube. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons as well. Because if you were to start like a crested gecko channel right now, that's like, well, I shouldn't say that, because Flawless Crested Geckos, if you guys don't know who Flawless Crested Geckos is, he's really big on Facebook and Instagram. And you would think that he would have more subscribers on YouTube, but he just started his YouTube channel. I do think right now, crested geckos on YouTube are growing at a faster pace than leopard geckos. So people who are starting crested gecko channels, they're experiencing an accelerated growth because there's more people looking for that content compared to leopard geckos, which you have to work like twice as hard to get less acceleration because there's not as many people looking for leopard gecko content. But I really do like leopard geckos more than crested geckos. Don't get me wrong, I like crested geckos. There's just something about the leopard geckos, they're able to blink and they're a little bit more streamlined and they're a little bit more dinosaur looking and they're more of a hunter than the crested gecko is. So like my heart is really with leopard geckos. Like I don't know if that will ever change. I think leopard geckos will always be number one for me, no matter how popular or non-popular they are. But the more that I pump my passion out there, the more that other people are going to be excited about it as well. You know, so I think that is going to, and not just me, but I mean others, you know, that are pumping their passion out there. The more people that are doing that, the better the hobby is going to grow and be received as well, you know. Oh, thank you, Mr. Wizard. You're on our Facebook page. So we just started a new Facebook page, Non-Judgmental Leopard Gecko Keepers and Breeders. There's a Savannah Monitor page that does that same mentality, like no judgment. And I think that the reason that's needed is because so many people do feel judged on these other Facebook pages. So I wanted to make that like bold and upfront that this is like a judgment-free zone. So please, I'm super busy, but if you guys happen to see any of that negativity or judgment, let me know so that I can talk to the people that are involved and try to see if we can figure out a resolution peacefully. But yeah, man, I mean, we're all just animal keepers at the end of the day. Some of us do things different. Some of us take more risks than others. But at the end of the day, I think we're all in the same boat. So for us to try to get along with each other is the best thing in my mind, you know. Sometimes it's nice once you get into a rhythm of cleaning. This one's pretty cool. So let's see if you can see the difference. This one you're going to see, maybe. It's tough to see. But it's it's a more orange coloration when, like it's a deeper orange. It's more of like an orangey red when the gecko is not albino. When the gecko is albino, it's more of like a brighter orange compared to like this is a little bit more of a darker orange. And so I want to be able to create both. And on a non-albino, the spotting will show. So you could really see the spotting on the head of the animal there. I don't know if we'll make this one available. I think this is a breeder male as well. I've been working on my MorphMarket page. Second favorite herp. Okay, that question can go two ways. Second favorite reptile to breed and second favorite reptile in general. If it's second favorite reptile to breed, I would say ball python, because ball pythons have the highest amount of genetic variation of any other reptile by like 100. They are 100 times more genetically diverse than any other reptile. So for that reason alone, because I love genetics and mixing and matching and creating art with the animals, I have to give number 2 to ball pythons. But if it was just about like what type of reptile do I like, I would have to say monitors or tegus. So leopard gecko like would be my favorite reptile, and then number 2 would probably be like an Argus monitor or a tegu. Like I really like those bigger lizard species as well, you know. So one day out here in Arizona, I hope to have like a lizard ranch, like a lizard park that people can actually come to. So we'll have like a gecko building inside, like a snake building, and then we'll have like outdoor cages and facilities that people can interact with large snakes or large lizards. So that would be maybe long-term goals, you know. Well, I appreciate it, Exotic. Yeah, feel free to text me 480-299-7657 to stay up to date with what I have upcoming. If you want to jump the gun of like before I even post it to the website, you could ask me, hey, do you have Black Knights available? Hey, do you have tangerines available? Because sometimes I can give people the hookup before I even post it, you know. Or I could tell them it's going to be another month before I post them or something. So how many different types of reptiles do we own? Well, there's leopard geckos, crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, sailfin dragon. That's another one I really like. Sailfin dragon is awesome. If I could get the Filipino sailfin dragon or the Indonesian giant black sailfin dragon, that would be my goal. 480-299-7657. And then you could also rewind it a little bit too after the episode's over. But so that's 4 Dumerals boa, ball pythons, Coleonyx gecko. I do have some Coleonyx geckos, tegus, and I think that is it. Yeah. So I have 8 total species. But I only focus on breeding like in larger numbers. I only focus on breeding leopard geckos as number 1, ball pythons is number 2, and then tegus. We do produce around 100 to 150 tegus a year right now, and I would like to see that number grow as I have more space. But tegus are very they take up a lot of space, and they're pretty expensive to feed, so you need to be careful that you don't over commit to too large of a tegu collection. So I have like 10 sub-adult tegus growing up that I'm going to be turning into breeders, and I have 3 or 4 female breeders right now that are breeding for me every year. And then we'll also be selling a lot of, depending on what geckos the guy picks up this weekend when he comes, and depending on what geckos we wind up selling at the next show, I'm going to have a lot of adult female geckos like ready to breed that I'm going to be looking to offload. And if you're looking for ball pythons, I actually just listed that we have 4 ball pythons that we're unloading that are breeder ready. And one of them's even going into, it's building follicles right now. So it's like time to pair the girl right now. So those are on our Facebook page as well. But I only have so much room for ball pythons, so I had to limit some of what we have going on right now. And if I can't picture the female's offspring being like super valuable to me, then it might just be worth letting her go. You know what I mean? For me, because like the bulk of my sales right now is through leopard geckos, and I'm just kind of building up the collection of ball pythons and whatnot. So strategically for me, it's better to keep the ball python operation a little bit more smaller and a little bit controlled and just super, super high end than have like lower end ball pythons that I'm making, you know. But if you're looking to get into the puzzle project, we also have 3 baby het puzzles we're selling right now. So a male het puzzle and 2 female het puzzles. And if you want, I was selling them for $700 shipped for all 3 of those on our website or on MorphMarket right now. But for the live stream special, I usually do a live stream special, I could do $650 shipped for all 3 of those. So basically, I'd only be asking $600 for 1 male that's het puzzle and 2 females that are het puzzle babies. They're all eating well. They're all on like their 5th or 6th meal, and they're ready to find a new home for anybody who's looking to work the puzzle project. What do you recommend to learn really good genetic in leopard geckos? Is there a book? Yeah, Ron Tremper has a book. So you could go to leopardgecko.com. Ron Tremper is like the godfather of leopard geckos. He has 2 or 3 books. There's also, I have this video on YouTube that's called How to Learn Every Leopard Gecko Morph. And that video shows how to use the website Leopard Gecko Wiki. So there's a website, Leopard Gecko, W-I-K-I, Leopard Gecko Wiki. It's an older website, so it's only about 90% up to date, but the 90% that it has is very, very good information that will help any beginner. Any beginner can really learn a ton from Leopard Gecko Wiki. it just gives you models and examples of like what a Tremper albino looks like, what a Bell albino looks like, what a snow looks like, what a gem snow looks like, a tug snow. It goes over like almost every single genetic. So that's leopardgeckowiki.com. I also have a video to show you how to use the website. And then, yeah, Ron Tremper has apps that are also on Google, and he has books that he sells from his website. So he was very smart in leaving the hobby. He sold his business. He created books and stuff to still generate some revenue. So ideally, I would like to create a morph list or explanation on my website as well one day, you know, when I have the time to create a list of all the different morphs that are out there, maybe try to show pictures of those morphs. Would be pretty cool. Yeah, Julie Bergman took over Ron Tremper's business. So leopardgecko.com is run by her. And Ron Tremper's still there, kind of in the background, like, you know, behind the scenes, working with her on some stuff. But yeah, Julie Bergman is kind of the face now of leopardgecko.com, who took over for Ron after he retired. So yeah, I've never spoken to her, but I heard she's really, really cool person. Oh, you guys need to remind me to check for ovulations. Yeah, no ovulation. Some of these girls they finished up their season a couple months ago, but now I need to be checking for new ovulations. And the girls that I'm cleaning right now, they were all separated from their groups for a certain reason. So maybe they were losing too much weight, maybe they were getting picked on, maybe they were the aggressor. They were the one that was picking on other geckos. So I separate them into like their own individual tubs when I notice that kind of stuff happening. Or if a girl's losing too much weight in a group, I'll move her to her own individual tub and just track her that way. And as soon as she's back up to weight, then she could go back with the group, or she could finish her season off in the individual tub. But then, like, a lot of these girls now, their season's been over for like a month or two, or maybe 3 months. So now it's the time when I need to start checking them again to see if they're going to go back into breeding, and I need to create a group for them or decide to sell them or whatever the case is. Some of them I might actually be selling. Because we have a lot of leopard geckos here right now. I think total, I don't know, I think total we might be sitting around like 1,000 to 1,200 geckos, but like 70% of those are like subadults or adults, and or juveniles that are eating a lot and growing a lot, and so it's very expense heavy to be holding on to larger geckos space wise, and then growing geckos food wise. Like the juvenile to subadult stage, that's when the gecko is going to be eating the most. And right now, our food bill is probably like $800 to $900 a month just for feeding all of our leopard geckos. So I don't know how many leopard geckos we have, but I know that it's, even with our sponsorship, with Rainbow Mealworms, even with our sponsorship, which covers, I won't say how much they cover, but they cover let's just say what I have going on with Rainbow Mealworms covers maybe 1 out of the 4 weeks a month, maybe half a week now. So that being said, I need to pay obviously for the rest of the orders, and it's probably costing me right now out of pocket, like I would probably say it's $800 to $900 a month in food to feed everything that we have. So, but I've been very strategic about holding back certain animals and bringing them into becoming breeders, and then I can kind of scale down and downsize from there. But I've needed to grow all of those breeders up, all of these high quality animals I need to grow up so that I can produce high quality animals, and then I could sell those high quality animals at younger ages or older ages, whatever I want. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. Oh, see, this one I have marked as aggressor. So this girl, she was an aggressive female. Let's take a look at her. She's really unique too. Check this girl out. She is just an inferno tangerine, but she has really dark and dirty speckling. So very interesting. Let's see if she's reovulating. No, she's not reovulating yet. But she was picking really badly on this group that she was in. And so those are the things that you have to look for. So that's why she got removed. You know? And we'll see if maybe we put her with the new group, if she'll do okay. If she never does okay, like if every group she goes into, she's an aggressive female, then we'll just breed her isolated, you know, on her own. Or sell her to somebody who does isolated breeding. Because in our collection right now, I don't have the time to focus on isolated breeding. I only have the time to do group breeding. But someone who has a smaller collection, more refined, that doesn't want to get as big or do as much, they have the time to do individual breeding. And I have no doubt she'll make a great individual breeder. You know, you just house her by herself, put the male in with her, watch them breed, remove the male, she'll be perfectly fine. It's when she gets in a group setting, she's feeling those hormones and she's feeling a little bit defensive. You know what I mean? And yeah, so we are going to keep an eye on her. I need to go get more worms real quick. Worms and cups. Well, thank you, Exotic. I appreciate it. Brooke is here too. I don't breed the mealworms. I've thought about doing that, especially as it's costing us a lot right now. But breeding mealworms, it's not difficult, but it's not something I want to do on a large scale. I would rather buy the mealworms and then just store them in my refrigerator and then use them as I need to, than breed them right now. But recently, I actually thought about breeding mealworms because of how much it's costing me right now every month. But there's a couple things that keep me away from that is the frass and the exposure of mealworms to your skin when you're working on large levels. It can be very allergic reaction for people, and thankfully I don't have an allergic reaction to it right now, but I don't want to build one, and I don't want to be around it as much as possible. So That's one reason I don't want to breed them. Another reason is the cycle of a mealworm to a beetle to the egg and all that kind of stuff. The cycle is very, very long. It's like a few month process. And so it would take me a while to get that whole system ramped up, and it would just be consuming time of mine, taking care of them, feeding them, sifting them, all of that kind of stuff. So number one, I just really don't like mealworms, working with them. And then number two, it would just be more time consuming, and I don't think it would be worth it for me right now. You know, we'll see. Maybe one day I will get back into breeding them, but all right, let's say bye-bye to this aggressive female. Look at that face. That's an aggressive face right there. Just kidding. See, she's nice when she's not with other females, but when you put leopard geckos together, they can be territorial. Definitely. You know? It doesn't mean that it's going to be terrible or a horrible experience for every group or whatever, but it's something you do need to keep an eye on, you know? So there's a couple things with crickets. You know, there's different things that are good for pet keepers versus pet breeders. Crickets are really great for people who keep leopard geckos as pets for a couple reasons. Number one, it's super fun to watch your leopard gecko hunt down a cricket and eat it, right? Really fun to watch that. I did crickets only pretty much for my first leopard gecko. But once you become a breeder, you look for efficiency and you also look for safety. Within the reptile world, crickets are known to carry the most amounts of parasites. Specifically, pinworms. Crickets are really known to carry pinworms. And although pinworms are not deadly necessarily, it's going to cost you a vet visit and or treatment. And so as a breeder, you don't want to be taking that chance. Another thing, mealworms are super easy. You buy them really, really cheap in bulk and store them in the refrigerator, and they're okay for 3 months. You don't have to house them. You don't need to feed them. You don't need to offer them substrate, nothing. You just take them right from the fridge and put them right into, see, like I went to the fridge right now, I filled this up, that's it. They're just sitting in the fridge. Easy as that. I have a video on it too if you want to, you know, see how we keep our mealworms in the fridge. But crickets, you need to keep them alive. You need to house them. You need to feed them. And they're very smelly. They need humidity, but not too much humidity. They need water, but not too much water. They need heat, but not too much heat. They're just super, super annoying and stringent to have to deal with on a massive level. And so if you can avoid them on a massive level, it's probably going to save you a lot of time and frustration. So thankfully, leopard geckos are really, really good at eating mealworms. Because if they were not good at eating mealworms, you'd have to do like dubia roaches or crickets or red runner roaches. Like you'd have to figure out something else, and it would probably make leopard gecko keeping more difficult. And again, when you're working on mass scale, you want things more easy, not more difficult. So So we do have a lemon frost project. I'm not really talking about it too much anymore, but what we are doing with the lemon frost is breeding it to Turkmenicus, fasciolatus, afghanicus to see if the issues can be lessened or taken away completely. So we have a certain group of geckos that we've produced that are Turkmenicus, fasciolatus, and afghanicus, and we're studying them, and we want to record the results of what happens with those geckos health-wise over the course of 5 to 10 years to see how it compares to regular macularis geckos. So that's it. That's all we're doing with the lemon frost. I'll see you, Exotic. This one is not a new color shirt. Yeah, this one is an older one. Man, I really wanted to order more shirts, but it was difficult. I spent like $1,000, and I think I only got 12 hats and like 50 shirts for $1,000. So I had to be really limited. I had to be really limited with like what colors of shirts I chose and all that. So I chose the 2 shirts that were most selected, which was black with white logo and then stone with black logo. So those are the 2 that I stocked up for adults. And then for kids, I stocked up on cardinal red, pink, baby blue. Like I stocked up on some of those. Oh, bye to the Leo. Bye, aggressive female. And we'll eventually probably keep naming all our leopard geckos and creating more lineages, especially for the males, but we just need the time. I'm really interested in lemon frost gene for whatever reason, so it's cool you're working with them. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shame. I mean, we caught a lot of heat. We caught a lot of negativity with the lemon frost, just trying to try different things out, see if something works, record information for the hobby. But there were a bunch of people that were really upset with us that we were even experimenting with that to begin with. And that caused like a lot of friction in the hobby for a little while. So that's why I kind of stopped talking about it, because people don't like friction, you know. So I'm still studying them, I'm still working with them, and then like when the time's right, in the right way, we'll definitely like release updates and release information. But I'm not trying to stir the pot more. I'm not trying to like create more drama. At the same time, I like people to be educated, so I like to talk about it and all that kind of stuff, you know. I'll show you one right now. They're really, really bright yellow. So this is just kind of just a quick example. There's many different like types of lemon frost, but they look very lemony, right? But if you look, I mean, we have some videos on this too. I think maybe 1 or 2 videos. Their eyes, it's tough to tell, but their eyes are like very, very bright white. And then their body is like a really bright yellow color. Now this is a fasciolatus turkmenicus lemon frost, so it's a little bit of a lighter yellow color, but I'm sure you could tell it just has that extra level of yellow brightness to it compared to like a normal leopard gecko, you know? And that's part of what's causing the issue with them. So the lemon frost geckos were studied to actually form skin tumors on their skin. And that's because what's causing that bright yellow effect is there's certain colorful cells, underneath the gecko's skin that are reproducing, but they're not dying. So the normal way that a cell works is it lives and dies. It lives and dies, and during that process, it's replicating itself and reproducing itself. But in the case of the lemon frost, some of the cells are living and they're not dying. And so what's happening is it's creating tumors, creating skin tumors. And so we've been studying that to see if we can reverse the effects or dial down the effects by outcrossing them to very, very distant bloodlines like Turkmenicus, Afghanicus, fasciolatus. So studying the effect of that, seeing what happens, and then comparing it to the effects of the macularis bloodline, which is pretty bad, Little raptor. You can see her red eyes there. I don't know if I'll sell her. She's a little bit on the smaller side. That happens with raptors sometimes, especially tangerine raptors. So you just need to be careful when you're buying geckos super young. Because you might not know if that animal comes from like heavily inbred genetics. Like Eclipse is heavily inbred, Super Snow, like there's just issues with them to where a lot of them just don't turn out to be the biggest and the healthiest. So it's good in that sense. If you're looking to start a breeding project, it's good to find adults that are like healthy and stuff like that. You know what I mean? People being upset about you doing literal science is absurd. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I've tried to work it out. I've tried to fix it with them. They have their reasons. They have their justifications for not wanting to like work things out or wanting to work together on things. And I understand that. Everyone has their own opinion, and it's a very sensitive topic. Specifically with this topic, it's very sensitive because it has to deal with cancer and tumors, and that's relatable to humans, right? But that's another reason why I think it's worth studying, is because if we can find a way to limit or take away those tumors, then we could also use those animals in scientific research to see if they could figure out what happened to limit or take away the tumors, and how we could possibly even apply that to like human cancer research, Do you put vitamins in the gecko's water? No, not at all. We put vitamins in the gecko's food bowl, and that's very necessary in my opinion. Oh, Nasty, good to see you then. Yeah, what would be a nice, neat direction to go with breeding? If you have a white and yellow Tremper albino female, any of your males that go good with her? Yeah, I would actually breed a tangerine to her that is possible het for Eclipse and possible het for Tremper, which we actually do have. I was showing some of them at the beginning of this video, and if you look on our Instagram story, it might be there right now. But who was asking that? Nasty. If you text me at 480 299 7657. I could show you some good male options that we have in different price ranges that come from really good tangerine genetics. The reason I say that it would be, I would, if it was me, I would breed a tangerine to her, is because tangerines mixed with white and yellows create like the prettiest babies. So if you have a high quality tangerine that you could breed to her, that, in my opinion, would be the best way to go. And we do have some high quality tangerines that we are looking to sell right now that I think we could, that would be a good pair for her. So hit me up, 480-299-7657. You could play this back if you need that number, but there's a good chance that if you don't reach out to me soon, that somebody else might buy them, because there's a couple people that have been asking me for like higher quality, like Mandarin and Inferno tangerines. But we're going to have a lot moving forward. It just takes time to grow them up into adults. And so the ones that I have right now are adult males ready to breed, like right now, you know? And I have a bunch of males that are growing up in the baby rack, but they're not going to be provable adult males ready to breed right now for at least probably 3 or 4 months on some of them. Some of them might be ready to go younger, but I know for sure the ones I have right now, there's like 4 of them. Any of them would make a good male for her. And I was showing all of them earlier in this video, but then I could also text you pictures if you do message me. So curing cancer, yeah. I mean, I thought it was worth doing for cancer research, and the only reason that I got into the Lemon Frost project is because there was other breeders working it before me that saw a lot of good results with it, good enough to the point where I was like, huh, something is there, you know? And after working with it myself now in my own collection, I knew that I needed to produce a decent amount. I need like 100 to 150 actual lemon frosts to study with different genetics and see what happens with them. I can tell you that I don't think there's going to be an absolute cure for it. However, what I'm studying right now is to see if the outcrosses of the wild types continue to have a lesser reaction to the lemon frost tumors than the original bloodline, because that means that there's something that's going on in these outcrosses that could potentially be used to study why. Why are they not producing as many tumors, as severe tumors, as frequent tumors compared to the original bloodline? And so to me, that's something that's at least worth documenting, looking into, and then seeing if, yeah, we could donate those geckos to science to see if that could even be something that they study on a genetic level that could possibly help with the human understanding of cancer research and fighting cancer, you know what I mean? So yeah, thank you, Nasty. I appreciate that. A lot of the stuff I was telling you right now is not on our website yet, so that's why I was saying text me or message me, 480-299-7657, because it's not on our website yet, but I'm going to be putting it on our website. But if you want to like secure that before it ever goes to the website and somebody else might get it, then you could always hit me up like first before I put it on the website, you know. Oh, here's another raptor. I do love a good raptor as well. This might be like a snow, white and yellow raptor or something like that. Oh man, yeah, you see that red eye? Next year's breeding, huh? Well, more Black Knight stuff, more high quality Mandarin stuff. Um, I'll probably be doing like some Mandarin crossed into white and yellow stuff. Um, and then I might be doing like fasciolatus snows crossed into each other to try to create the first fasciolatus super snows. And same thing with Afghanicus, like the first Afghanicus snows crossed to each other to create the first. I just got your text too, Dusty. So I'll get back to you here after the live stream. But what I really want to see is Afghanicus super snow and fasciolatus super snow. That's what I want to see. And so that might be in the making for 2023. Oh, and then continuing the Afghanicus Black Knight project. I'm really excited for that. Because the Generation 1 Afghanicus Black Knight crosses, they're looking really, really good. And when I cross them back into pure Black Knight, they're going to look even better. And I'm really excited to see that result as well, you know? Yeah, super worms are, like Brooke was saying, super worms are actually good for leopard geckos if you just find the right size super worm for your leopard gecko. So like super worms come in different sizes as well, and you just don't want it to be too big for your leopard gecko. The thing with super worms is you can't keep them in the fridge. Mealworms you can keep in the fridge. So super worms you have to keep alive in like a separate container and feed them. And I was actually going to get more into super worms for like our sailfin dragon and stuff like that, our bearded dragon. But I had a weird experience. So this first batch of super worms I got, they were kept alive so easily. Like it was super hard to kill these guys. I just gave them some fruit and they were perfectly fine. But then the second batch of super worms that I got, they almost like died immediately. And so that they were very hard to keep alive. And again, I'm very time restrained. So anything that I need to like take care of on a more frequent basis, I'm going to think twice about it because my time is already spread very thin. So I just didn't give it another thought to try to like re-experiment with them or anything like that. You know what I mean? But other than that, I mean, if you're a smaller breeder, super worms are great. Dubia roaches are great. Mealworms are okay, and you know if they're not as fun to feed if you're just like a pet keeper. But if you're a breeder, then they're actually really efficient. And then of course crickets. If you're a breeder, you probably don't want to do crickets because you're at risk for parasites. They're tough to keep. Blah blah blah. But if you're a pet keeper, crickets are really fun to feed your leopard geckos. So Dustin wants to see the sailfin dragons sometime. Apparently he loves them. Yeah, we have the smaller version that's easier to get a hold of. There are sailfin dragons that are like 4 feet, like the giant Filipino sailfin dragons and Indonesian sailfin dragons that are like bright emerald blue and purple or deep black. But those ones are really, really hard to get in America. What we have is the more common imported one, which is a lot smaller, and they're typically like an emerald green, which is still really cool. But yeah, we can definitely make that happen sometime. Well, I'm going to take a break from cleaning, guys, and then text me a picture of yours. Yeah. I was just showing the sailfin on the other live stream that we had. But yeah, I'll have to get you a picture too, Brooke. But But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I think I'm gonna end the live stream there. Tomorrow's Thursday, so I won't be doing one tomorrow night because I have softball. Maybe I'll try to get another live stream in if I have time, like Friday or this weekend. But thank you guys for being here. And I'm also going to be getting ready for the expo coming up November 19th and 20th. So if you guys are going to be in Arizona or you want to make the trip out here to go to the expo, then let us know or stop by our table. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time to spend with us tonight. I'm going to try to get some videos up, try to do more live streams over the next couple weeks. Maybe I could come do a live stream Friday. Yeah, Friday, there might be, I might be busy on Friday, so I'll let you know, Brooke, and then we'll see how Friday winds up panning out. But we might do that. We might do a live stream with Brooke if we get the chance Friday. So thank you, All Exotic, Brooke, Wizard. Who else is here? Lisa. Nasty. I appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one. All right. Have a Geeky Gecko great night, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.